Three aspects of Mediterranean culture place this Sunday's Gospel reading into a fresh perspective. Matthew chapter 15, verses 21 through 28. At that time, Jesus withdrew to the region of Tyre and Sidon. And look, a Canaanite woman of that district came and called out, "Have mercy on me, Lord, Son of David. My daughter is tormented by a demon." But Jesus did not say a word in answer to her. Jesus' disciples came and asked him, "Send her away, for she keeps calling out after us." He said in reply, "I was sent only to the lost sheep of the house of Israel." But the woman came and did Jesus homage, saying, "Lord, help me." He said in reply, "It is not right to take the food of the children and throw it to the dogs." She said, "Please, Lord, for even the dogs eat the scraps that fall from the table of their masters."
Now we go here. What are we going to do now? Oh, I can
Well,
take that
free.
too.
That was free, so I got to get that out of there.
But you know what's also free?
Yeah, I know the queen.
A checkmate.
Oh! A checkmate?
A checkmate.
Drew, I'm still on your side.
And a beautiful one.
Then Jesus said to her in reply, "O woman, great is your loyalty. Let it be done for you as you wish." And the woman's daughter was healed from that hour. Understanding this shocking gospel story requires becoming familiar with three of its important cultural aspects. The first of these three cultural aspects you got to be aware of: honor and shame. When the Nathaniel Jesus sent the 12 out on mission, he directed them to the lost sheep of the house of Israel exclusively. He urged them to steer clear of the Gentiles and Samaritans. Now Jesus himself heads over to non-Israelite territory, toward Tyre and Sidon, and right away is met by a non-Israelite, a Canaanite woman from that region. This is rather embarrassing from the get-go. Is Jesus contradicting himself? That would be shameful, a shameful reversal of his earlier honorable charge to the 12. The second cultural aspect that we need to be aware of is the social game of challenge and riposte.
There is, however, a second way. It's what anthropologists call acquired honor. And what we mean by that is that you can gain and lose honor as a result of your behavior. This is not honor as birth status. This is honor as virtue. By acting the right way, small gains and losses of honor could occur. And in fact, we know that they played a kind of game. We call it the game of challenge and response, in which one could challenge the honor of another, and you have to respond appropriately. If you respond inappropriately, you lose face, you lose honor, you are shamed, and if you play the game well, you could acquire honor.
Always keep in mind the very public dimension of life in the Middle East. There is always a crowd at hand to watch you, judge you, and decide whether to grant you honor or impute shame onto you. The Canaanite woman knows this. She's part of the same circum-Mediterranean world that Jesus and his followers belong to. And so she uses the crowd to her advantage and hurls a challenge at Jesus. Like others in the gospel, this anonymous woman cleverly addresses Jesus with an honorific title, Lord, Son of David, and uses this title as a basis for her request, "Have mercy on me." In the Middle Eastern world, mercy is a sensitivity to and sense of responsibility for one's debts to God and other human beings. So in the Bible, whenever people ask for mercy, understand that they are all feeling like they are owed something. And people in the Bible, like Jesus, who show mercy are acknowledging and paying what they owe. It's a very different understanding of mercy than we have in the West. The woman's cries and pleas are based on recognizing the Matthean Jesus' Davidic ancestry and hoping that he is going to act in accord with the reputation of his ancestor, the great King David. If Jesus cares about his honor, he has to offer a remedy, perhaps a healing for her demon-tormented daughter. But Jesus is not obliged to answer the challenge. First of all, this is a woman talking to him, and in this social world, women are not the equals to men. Secondly, she's a foreigner. She's a non-Israelite. According to the social world of the Gospels, on several counts, Jesus and the Canaanite woman are not equals. And the honor game of challenge and riposte can only be played by equals.
First off, you must play it only with your social equals. If you try it with people above you, you're uppity. If you try it with people below you, you're a bully. So ideally, it happens with people who are equal.
Following the honor code of his culture, Jesus ignores the woman. But the woman is not put off. She continues to follow the crowd and shriek after Jesus and his disciples. Her behavior undoubtedly attracts an even larger crowd. Again, this is a society where everyone's business is minding everyone else's business. The disciples urge Jesus to send her away. Their suggestion is unclear. Send the woman away by healing her daughter, or without healing her daughter? Jesus' answer to them seems to imply that the disciples meant the former. He continues to refuse to heal her daughter by citing his commitment only to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Unlike the universalist Jesus we imagine, the Jesus of the Gospel of Matthew was ethnocentrically particular. But the persistent foreign woman simply will not be denied. She comes forward, kneels respectfully to honor Jesus, and thereby prevents him and his followers from advancing. She's blocking his path. And again, she uses the honorific title, Lord. This time her plea is simple and moving. Help me. Everyone is witnessing this. Will Jesus grant her the favor? Or is it that Jesus can't grant her the favor? Maybe he's a fake. Jesus responds harshly, even brutally, and argues against throwing the children's food to dogs. Folks, Jesus was a master of Middle Eastern insults and insult humor. And in his career, he had a whole bunch of doozies. But of all the insults we read about in the Gospels that he levels against people, this is the worst. Calling the woman a dog is an enormous insult. In Jesus' culture, dogs were not pets. They were wild vermin. Gentiles were commonly referred to as dogs in the Israelite tradition. Jesus apparently is repeating his culture stereotype for Gentiles. Calling the Canaanite woman a dog would be offensive in every language, and Jesus has no qualms. But to everyone's amazement, including the Matthean Jesus, the woman retorts with cleverness. Lord, note the honorific title. Lord, even dogs eat crumbs that fall from their master's table. The woman proves she can give as good as she gets. What the woman has done in this story is almost always completely lost to Western Bible readers. The woman has just defeated Jesus soundly in the social game of challenge and riposte. Jesus is checkmated. His back is against the wall. In defiance of all social norms, this foreign woman proves she is equal to the game of challenge and riposte. She is the only person in the Gospels who proves to be a good match for Jesus' wit. And more to it, she is the only person in the Gospels to beat Jesus at the game he has mastered. This fact is not lost on Jesus, who proves himself to be a good loser. What does Jesus the loser do? He responds with the equivalent of touché and grants her request. The daughter is healed instantly.
But you know what's also free?
Yeah, I know the queen.
A checkmate.
But checkmate.
A checkmate.
Drew, I'm still on your side.
And a beautiful one.
She got it. It is what it is. It is what it is.
That was almost 2 in 1.
When read in a culturally plausible way, this story reveals something devastatingly different between Western Christian faith on the one hand and biblical faith on the other. Western believers for a long time have intellectualized faith, sometimes equating it with conviction or knowledge. This is very much in line with the Illuminist school and its great thinkers like Augustine, Thomas Aquinas, and more recently, Bernard Lonergan. These theologians see faith primarily through intellectual assent and confession of belief and creed. Christian traditions like the Big C Catholic have happily followed this Illuminist school approach to faith as belief or faith as intellectual assent. In contrast, in the Middle Eastern world from where our gospel stories originate, faith is best understood as Godfather-style loyalty. And commitment to a person no matter the cost. Like Enzo the baker in The Godfather will remain loyal to the Corleone family. He's never held a gun before in his life, but he will pretend to be a gangster even if he's gunned down in order to honor his patron, Don Vito Corleone, and protect his life. That is faith in the Bible. Loyalty. Undying loyalty, undying commitment to a person. The Canaanite woman had this kind of loyalty. She was committed to Jesus from the outset of this exchange, and very likely even before she undertook to go and meet him in person. So she was not put off by his initial aloofness, nor his subsequent gruffness and egregious and frankly callous insult. She determined to be loyally committed to Jesus no matter how crudely he behaved. In the Middle East, such Godfather-style loyalty and commitment always pays off. But you know, Americans, including American Christians, have a different experience when it comes to loyalty.
This is the worst time in the world to add to that disruption.
Recent economic experiences appear to indicate that being loyal does not pay in our so-called Christian society. Long-term employees are laid off with hardly an afterthought. Firms that used to treat employees like family now have no choice but to downsize their operation and release long-time faithful workers. This happens in church parishes, folks. Parishes and churches that are run in the American style, like a business. Look at the homeowner situation and renter situation in this country. Faithful tenants, always paying their rent on time and treating their landlord's property well, doesn't make a speck of difference when it comes to raising rents and decisions to change arrangements or to sell properties. And the attitude of the haves to the have-nots in this great so-called Christian country? Too bad, so sad. When this kind of American commercial thinking happens to church employees, its effect is even worse. What can American believers do to reactivate loyal commitment to Jesus and his church?